Check, check. 1, 2. Check, check.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the January 22nd meeting of council. First of all, this evening under presentation, I would like to introduce Mr. Richard Neufeld, our new land development manager. Richard, would you mind coming up to the mic, please, and maybe giving us a little bit of history, if you would? We're very happy that you've decided to join the team, and if you would press the talk button there, you can just give us a little bit of your history, and that would be awesome.
Well, thank you, Your Worship and councillors. Happy to be here, and it's been a joy so far to work with fine people like the city manager and Trudy here and what have you. For background, I'm married, family. I have a son who's just shy of 6 years old and a daughter who's just going to be turning 2 here in a few weeks. I come from Edmonton, Alberta is the last place. Originally, I'm from British Columbia and been working in the planning field. I'm on year 28 here. In July, I'll finish my 28th year of doing this kind of work. And I love what I do. I've worked in pretty well every type of setting as a planner except for a large engineering firm, both cooperative regional planning for provincial government, provincial agency, out of my basement as a private contractor, as a group, and in municipal settings as well. And I'm happy to be in a municipal setting again, and I'm looking forward to the wonderful opportunities there are to try and continue with the efforts that council administration's been making for many years to make Estevan the best place it possibly can be.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that, Richard, and we're very happy that you decided to join our team, and thank you so much, and we'll look forward to seeing you lots.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, could we have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda as presented? Okay, Councillor Hoffert, Councillor Yanish, any questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, could we have a motion, please, to adopt the minutes of the council meeting held on January 8th, 2018? Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Nibbs. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under original communications, delegations, and petitions, we have the Reagan's Cart Report for December 2017. Could we have a motion, please, for that? Councillor Yanish, seconded by Councillor Veroba. Any questions on that? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under original communications, delegations, and petitions, we have Envisions Counseling Community Partnership Report. Remember last time they came and they were requesting a few things, and we asked for a little bit more information, such as what the other communities, the other RMs help out, and they have given us that. So what's the wish of council with this request? Councillor Yanish?
Thank you, Your Worship. I wish to make a motion that we donate $1,000 a year to 2021.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Have we got a seconder? Okay, thank you, Councillor Nibbs. Any further comments? Councillor Veroba?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just wondering, is that $1,000 going to come out of our $5,000 that we have for the extra third-party grants?
I would, what do you think, City Manager?
Only because we did have a committee for that we
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah,
City Council wasn't going to make those kind of donations. It was going to go to the committee,
that's true.
but I'm
So
not.
if that's your wish?
No, I'm in favor of the $1,000. I just wanted to know if we're clear on where it's coming from and that we're taking the $1,000 from that committee.
Yeah, every year. I think that's, are you okay with that, City Manager?
Yep.
Okay, Councillor Nibbs?
Just because they have no input on, is it something we should just do as a council then and leave the $5,000? And it's not a big donation, but it's not going to impede what we had set up with that other 5,000 then.
Yeah,
Just a thought.
that's a fair comment. Councillor Veroba, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine if we increase that, yeah.
Okay. Okay, any further questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under written reports of committees, we have the Estevan Arts Council meeting minutes of December 6th, 2017. Could we have a motion, please, to accept those? Councillor Hoffert, seconded by Councillor Nibs. Any further questions or comments on that? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under written reports of committees, we have the Woodlawn Regional Park meeting minutes of November 9th. Could we have a motion, please, to accept those? Councillor Nibs, seconded by Councillor Moore. Any questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under executive reports, we have from the city manager the 2018 budget. I would like to thank the city manager, Trudy, all of the staff that have helped to contribute to this. I know there's been a lot of work involved. So city manager, I'll maybe turn this over to you. Have you got any initial comments?
Thank you, Worship. Yes, the budget was put out in December. We'll hold it open for about 4 weeks to get some feedback. There's been no formal feedback given to City Hall. There has been some comments amongst some councillors that I'm aware of, as well as an individual that was in City Hall indicating that the only concern they had was the increase in the infrastructure fee from the 20 to 30 for every 2-month billing cycle, specifically for the ones that had paid for the local improvements already. So not a ton of feedback on anything except that, so I can leave that up to council to discuss if they wish.
Okay, I think we probably should have some further discussion on that. I don't know what the wish of council. Did you want to give that some thought? I think at some point we should have some more discussion on that. Councillor Hopper?
Yeah, thank you. I was certainly approached by a couple folks who their comments and further discussion led to the fact that at least during the time they're paying for their initial sewer line, that they shouldn't be subject to an increase in the fees, and it's certainly something I've given some thought to, and it didn't see it as a negative request, but more as a productive one. So I think it's something we should consider.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask your worship, have we received any feedback from the Chamber of Commerce? I did see an email blast from them asking their members for input,
That's
so
right.
that may indicate that there is
Yeah,
no feedback.
But I have not received anything
Okay.
from the chamber.
Yeah, we saw that as well, Councillor Hopper, but no, we didn't get anything back. City manager?
So if that's the wish of council, we set our utility rates in the March of the year, so this would not be sent to then. I have done some initial digging into what that cost is if we did waive it on the local improvement. So it would be about a $41,000 reduction if we abated everyone who has paid a local improvement or prepaid it. Your comment about only if they're still paying, I think that jeopardizes the people that prepaid right at the start, and that's a difference. There's some administrative issues about people that may have paid and moved or sold their house, so there's some other items such as that, but I can do up a report for the next council meeting of some options there if council wants to consider them. But obviously, if somebody has not heard some other feedback, you could approve as is, so I'll leave them.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hopper?
Thank you for that, and City Manager. So that amount was 41,000. What is the total net revenue?
We're to council offer, we were gonna raise from about 450,000, and then with the 10% increase, we're gonna be at about 625. So from the $150,000 increase, we'd lose 41,000 of it.
Okay, and I would certainly agree that if someone prepaid, they shouldn't be penalized for that.
Exactly.
And secondly, just to explain for those who haven't read it, this is something that would have a direct purpose for the collection, and that is to be able to, plan the next infrastructure line replacements without having to go back to a local
50-50.
improvement process.
Exactly. Okay, well, thank you, Councillor Hoffert. Councillor Moore, you had,
Thank you, Worship. The questions I have had asked to lately has been to do with the tourism. And they wanted some history on as to what we're planning to do with the building out on 39. Who's going to operate tourism, or what umbrella is it going to be under? And a little bit about the future of tourism. They're quite concerned that we're maybe slipping a bit on advertising our city in our given area, so I thought maybe you could best explain what's happening.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Moore. City Manager?
Council Moore, to your worship. So, through initial discussions, due to the failing amount of attendance at a tourism booth, it was kind of discussed at the administration level that we could better use our tourism and our marketing at a more central location, such as the leisure center. We do have the open concession area that is vacant right now that could be renovated and have more foot traffic to promote items, such as Souris Valley Theater, anything that's coming to town, and really get people more involved in some of maybe those energy tours, because there would be more foot traffic. In regards to the actual tourism booth itself, I think the proposal is that we would put that out for an RFP or take proposals on potentially purchasing that and moving that, and with those funds would pay for the renovation over at the leisure center. That was kind of the initial proposal, so I guess council can make some more decisions on that as we move forward.
And also, City Manager, would we not have something out there so people coming up would have an opportunity?
Yes, Your Worship. So we also talked about how some other cities, this is a growing trend across Saskatchewan, that these booths are being shut down as a new demographic comes up and travels through. They're more initiated in some of the online contact, the Facebook, the website, and what some places are doing are even online scans or billboards that you could scan, and they'll bring up apps on your phone that'll show you tourism destinations in the city. So I know that's been thrown around as well. In response to where would this fall under, I believe this would fall under our marketing and tourism area. We'd still like to hire back the summer student. If not, we'd like to make a full-time position through the year. But that will be a discussion as we move forward once the tourism information booth is decided by council on how we're going to move forward, but also as the renovation continues, if that's the wish of council.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Moore. Thank you, City Manager. Any other further questions? Okay, did we get, I guess we'll need a motion for the 2018 if there's no more questions or comments on that. Councillor Hoffer?
Before you vote on this, Your Worship, I'd just like to make sure it's not including the health levy, because if it is, I'll need to excuse myself.
Yeah, no, we've made that separate. Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. Any,
We don't have the actual mill rates or anything, so, yeah, so that's usually when that's done.
yeah, when the mill rates are actually set, Councillor Hoffer, that's when you'll have to leave, but, yeah. Okay, so if there's no more comments, have we got a motion to accept? Go ahead. Okay, that's right. So you seconded it, Councillor Roba, thank you. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Next, under executive reports, we have from the Fire Chief, the Woodlawn Regional Park Fire Protection Agreement. Now, we did have discussions on this as a council, and now it's coming forward for the new budget. Any questions or comments or anything council would like to make on this? If not, have we got a motion, please, to accept? Councillor Nibs, thank you. Have we got a seconder? Okay, Councillor Moore. Councillor Moore, did you have a question?
Thank you, Worship. I guess you're reading my mind. On the two issues that come up with Woodlawn under this particular subject, the dog park and the fresh air fitness, I guess we need to explain a little better how those two particular units fit under our jurisdiction. And it was suggested because they couldn't afford or maintain the insurance part of it. So I thought this would be a good time maybe to explain how we arrived to get them under the same umbrella. Maybe City Manager, could you explain that or not?
In regards to insurance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Councillor Hopper, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, just to bring a little clarity to that, for basically what those two organizations have done is they're both operating within the jurisdiction of Woodlawn Park, and after several meetings with the executive of the park, they've come to terms and agreement, and they are actually now fully owned and operated by Woodlawn Regional Park, a subcommittee for each, but they are all a part of the park 100%.
Okay.
An operating function of Woodlawn Regional Park now.
Okay, so they'll be covered by those
Yeah, they'll be
insurances and
by all the bylaws, regulations, and
Okay.
of the Woodlawn Regional Park Authority. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for the clarification.
For sure, it wasn't a negative thing. It was a type of thing as to who owns it and who's operating
okay.
it. So I explained it the best I could, but I thought maybe there was something that I'd missed. So
No, for
That's
sure,
exactly-
that clarifies it
Okay.
very good. Thank you both.
Thanks,
Thank
yeah.
you, Councillor Moore.
thank you.
Okay, if there's no more questions, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under executive reports, we have the Land Development Building Permit Report for December 2017. Could we have a motion to accept that, please? Councillor Nibs, seconded by Councillor Moore. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under introduction of bylaws, we have none this evening. Public hearings and reports, we have none this evening. Giving notice, I would just like to release a public information release of the Civic Auditorium. I know it's been released on the city webpage, and we've also released it for the press and radio, but I'd just like to read it over tonight. In January of 2017, complaints were issued to council in regard to the heating at the Civic Auditorium. During budget of 2017, council agreed to spend $250,000 on the Civic Auditorium contingent on a building assessment. This was to ensure that money was going to be spent on a building that had some useful life left. The Civic Auditorium spending is discussed in the 2017 budget package that was released early in 2017 for public feedback. The tender for the building assessment was tasked to the facilities manager. Requests for proposals were received, and WSP was chosen in July of 2017 based on price and expertise. WSP is a reputable firm with experience in building assessments. Throughout the summer, WSP completed multiple on-site visits for a thorough investigation and completed the report on November 1st, 2017. Once council read the recommendations from the report indicating that there was significant structural issues and that access be restricted to the building, they made the decision at that time to close the Civic Auditorium to the public, due mainly to liability concerns that once this risk was identified, that council would be negligent if they continued to let the public into a potentially compromised building. When reviewing the options noted by WSP, it was clear that significant costs in relation to stabilizing the structure, as well as addressing the significant electrical and mechanical concerns, was not a viable option for the city, as the immediate costs were over $1.5 million. Without council direction, a private user group paid for a second engineer's report from a different structural engineer, C.A. Reed and Associates. The C.A. Reed report was provided to the city and indicated that if the tension rods were adjusted, some other bracing be completed, that the structural issues would be addressed and the public could use the facility while a further detailed analysis would be completed. At this point, both the WSP report as well as the C.A. Reed report were presented to our insurance provider, who indicated that these public documents would need to be forwarded to our insurer for full disclosure of risk. At that point, the insurer was also asked about our continued coverage for the facility. Council then approved the work to brace the structure so that the building could be opened to the public ASAP. To comply with the legislation, the city was required to put a request for proposals for the work, as noted in the C.A. Reed report. The RFP was put out with the full expectation that if work was approved and completed, the insurance coverage would be granted. Based on the knowledge and experience of these types of buildings, the work was awarded to C.A. Reed, and the resolution approving the proposal was also sent to the city's insurer. City Council was ready to repair the structure through the works noted in the proposal on the condition that the property and liability insurance coverage was available. Notice was provided by the insurer on January 16th that property and liability insurance coverage would not be included on this building, and that the asset was being removed from coverage on January 24th, 2018. The city contracted another municipal insurer, as well as our insurance broker had discussed with 4 other insurance agencies. None of these agencies contacted would insure a one-off building, and all stated it was high risk. So that's just a brief overview of how we came to this point this evening. So we will continue to keep the public informed as we move forward. We just wanted to address, because I know some people actually thought there was a conspiracy theory, which there was not. We just wanted to clarify everything, so we'll continue to hear from the public, and council will have a decision to make moving forward on the future of the building. So moving forward, motions from committee, we have none this evening. Consideration of bylaws, none. Inquiries, Councillor Hoffer.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have something to bring to your attention. Of course, you're well aware as this council of the great year it was at the Estevan Regional Airport with the Living Skies Air Show and other accomplishments there. And it looks like 2018 is, we're already receiving some exposure well beyond our borders. One of our local residents and new member at the Estevan Airport, Ken Johnson, has been featured in the Canadian Aviator, a national magazine for the flying community. And Ken is a fellow who has always had a passion for flying, a love of flying, and a family history of flying, and is restricted in flying, or was in part due to he's been affected by muscular dystrophy for much of his life. But to the old adage, where there's a will, there's a way, Ken has overcome this and has purchased himself an airplane. And now through the help of local pilots, Dwight Montaigne and John Erickson, is getting up regularly in his plane. And it's a really nice a story about Ken in the Canadian Aviator magazine, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention because it's bringing some nice exposure to our community and our airport on a really feel-good story. And so congratulations to Ken in achieving his dream of flying.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that, Councillor Hoffer. And I'd also like to thank Councillor Moore, who brought it to council's attention about the sign, and council was very giving in going ahead with the sign under your guises as chairman of the airport, Councillor Hoffer. And we now have, I know Councillor Nibs is especially proud of the sign, as we all are. I mean, it's a beautiful sign. So again, congratulations that that's finished. Thank you. Councillor Vroba?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to say congratulations to Chief Dale Fieser and all of his firefighter and the crews, because we went to the grand opening this weekend with the fire hall, and it was beautiful, functional, and they got a call out at 12:30 at night that same night after basically christening the fire hall. And then I believe I also heard that there was 3 more calls on Sunday. So kudos to all of the firefighters, because they do a heck of a job and they keep us safe, and they're definitely overworked. So that's, at least on Sunday they were.
No,
So
absolutely.
thank you.
You make a very good point, Councillor Vroba, and it was a very good function, and we had a lot of people attended, and everybody is very proud of our new fire hall, and we're very proud of our firemen. Absolutely. Thank you. Councillor Janish?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I'd like to also say congratulations to the fire department. It was well attended by the public also, and I know they were talking about maybe doing something in the summer also out there too, to get some more families out. We had a nice day for it. It was good. Thank God it wasn't 50 below pushing that fire truck in the hall.
Yes,
it would have been
exactly.
cold, but yeah, that's all I had to say.
And thank goodness us old guys never had a slip and fall pushing that big truck in there. That wouldn't have been good. Councillor Nibs?
Nothing, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Moore?
I too, been around for a lot of openings in the city, and I think that was the best planned. Thank you to the city staff, Judy and Jeff and Trudy. It was the best planned, and we had a really good program. We had lots of people out, and they were excited about what was happening. And I walked away thinking this was the best thing that happened to us in 2017. We've done a lot of things, but this was the highlight in my guesstimation. That we got an opportunity, we took the chance, and we're living with it, and I think it's going to be a prize for many, many years. So that's the way I feel about it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Moore. City Manager?
Nothing to add, Your Worship.
Okay, Trudy, did you have anything you'd like to add? Judy? City Clerk? Okay. Okay, well, I too was so impressed with the opening. I'd like to thank everyone that attended, and I know it'll be a great facility for many years to come. So do we have a motion, please, to move into committee? Councillor Yanish, seconded by Councillor Vroba. All in favor? Carried. Thank you so much. We'll call this meeting closed. Thank you.